It started with a midnight phone call. Donald Trump, seated in his Mar-a-Lago office, picked up the secure line after 3 persistent rings. On the other end was a voice he hadn't heard in years, an old intelligence contact, codenamed Falcon. The voice was firm, direct. "Mr. President, we've intercepted something. You need to see this. It involves Hunter, foreign assets, and something even bigger than Ukraine." Trump's face remained unreadable, but his mind was racing. For years, had made claims about the Biden family's dealings, but this sounded different. Within hours, a flash drive was hand-delivered by a private courier. No digital trails. No names. Just a note, "The files will speak for themselves. You were right. It's over for them." Trump inserted the drive into a secure laptop. Dozens of folders appeared. Each one labeled by country, bank, and, most notably, dates during Biden's vice presidency. His eyes narrowed as he opened the first file, encrypted financial transfers tied to energy contracts in Romania. Then came the emails. Trump leaned back in his chair, the glow of the laptop screen reflecting in his eyes as he scrolled through a trove of confidential documents. The first folder detailed an obscure Romanian energy firm, Petronova Limited. On the surface, it looked like a minor regional supplier. But hidden inside the emails were names, Hunter Biden listed as a strategic advisor, and recurring references to the big guy, a nickname Trump instantly recognized from previous scandals. One email in particular stopped him cold: "Ensure the second wire goes through by Tuesday. Hunter says his father's on board, VP approval clears the path. We're all set." The transfer was for $5 million. The sender? A known intermediary for Eastern European oligarchs. Trump picked up his secure phone and dialed Rudy Giuliani. "Rudy, it's real. It's all real. And it's worse than we thought. Romania's just the tip." Within minutes, his inner circle was reactivated. Former campaign aides, ex-analysts, and a trusted cyber forensics expert gathered on a secure Zoom call. Trump shared the screen. The digital room went silent. One aide whispered, "Sir, if this is verified, we're not talking just scandal. We're talking treason-level cover-ups." Trump responded with a calm, ominous tone, "Start organizing the timeline. I'm going public. It's over for them." By dawn, Trump's Mar-a-Lago war room was humming with activity. Dozens of printouts covered the long mahogany table, emails, transaction records, foreign company profiles, and travel logs. Each document was being cross-referenced, verified, and mapped to a growing master timeline. At the center of it all was a giant board divided by years, with color-coded strings linking Hunter Biden's overseas trips, corporate board appointments, and corresponding dates Joe Biden was visiting those same countries as vice president. The overlaps were undeniable. Aide Stephen Groves pointed to a red thread connecting Bucharest to Washington, D.C. "Look at this, sir. 3 days after Biden visited Romania in 2015, Hunter's firm received a consulting contract worth $3.2 million. The wire went through a Cayman Islands shell." Another aide chimed in. "We've got Hong Kong, Serbia, and even a shadow deal in Kenya. All signed during or shortly after official state visits by Joe Biden." Trump, pacing the room with a sharp intensity, turned and said, "This isn't politics anymore. This is national security. And the media's been sitting on it for years." He knew he needed more than a press release. A televised reveal. One that couldn't be ignored. He called a trusted conservative producer at a major news outlet. "I need a full hour. Prime time. Exclusive. No filters. We're going live in 48 hours. The producer paused, then replied, "If you've got what you say you do, sir, this changes everything." Trump smiled for the first time in hours. It's over for them. It was 8 p.m. Eastern. Every major network was buzzing about the mysterious announcement Trump had teased hours earlier. Social media had exploded with speculation. Was it another campaign stunt, or something bigger? Then, without warning, truth revealed flashed across the screen on a major conservative news channel. Trump appeared, live, sitting behind a desk lined with documents, laptops, and physical evidence. The American flag stood to his right. A digital board flickered behind him, already displaying names, countries, and dollar amounts. He began, "Good evening, America. What I'm about to show you isn't rumor. It's not theory. These are documents. These are facts. This is the truth, buried, denied, and now finally exposed." He clicked a remote. On screen came a screenshot of an email dated 2016. Subject line, "Wire complete, final confirmation." Attached was a scanned memo referencing Hunter Biden, Petronova Romania, and vice presidential scheduling clearance. Next slide, a banking record from a Swiss institution. Same date. $5 million transfer. Recipient, a Delaware-based firm tied directly to Hunter. Then came a photo. Hunter on the tarmac in Bucharest. In the background, Joe Biden shaking hands with Romanian officials. Trump leaned forward. They called it a conspiracy. But the only conspiracy was how hard they worked to hide it. This is one country. I've got 9 more. Cameras zoomed in. His voice dropped lower. Joe Biden didn't just know. He helped arrange it. And there's proof. The screen froze on an internal memo, "Confirm with VP's office. If Joe signs off, release both tranches." The room fell silent. Then Trump said it again, slowly, forcefully, "It's over for them." Within minutes of Trump's live broadcast, Washington erupted. Phones rang off the hook in Capitol Hill offices. Staffers scrambled. News anchors shifted tones mid-sentence. Even late-night comedians paused their monologues to ask, "Is this real?" Inside the West Wing, a tense emergency meeting was already underway. President Biden, visibly agitated, sat at the head of the table, flanked by Ron Klain and several top advisors. "Get me legal. Get me press. I want to know what's fake, what's real, and who leaked what," Biden snapped. But the damage was growing by the second. Mainstream outlets, initially cautious, began tiptoeing into coverage. CNN ran with a breaking headline, "Trump broadcasts alleged Biden family dealings, documents raise questions." By midnight, hashtags like #BidenLeaks, #Petronova Files, and #It's Over for Them were trending worldwide. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, House Oversight Committee members, Republican and some centrist Democrats, called for a formal review of the evidence. Senator Josh Hawley posted, "If what Trump just revealed checks out, this isn't about politics. It's about prosecution." But the real jolt came from an unexpected voice. Senator Joe Manchin tweeted, "If these files are authentic, there must be consequences. No one is above the law, not even a president." That tweet sent Biden's inner circle into chaos. Meanwhile, Trump, back at Mar-a-Lago, watched it all unfold on 3 screens at once. He turned to his team and said, "They thought they buried me in indictments. But I buried them in truth." As the media firestorm intensified, Trump's team unveiled their next move, an exclusive sit-down interview with a whistleblower. His name had been redacted from all documents, but now, under the banner of national security and public interest, he was ready to speak. His name was Elias Turner, a former financial compliance officer who once worked for a European bank that processed several of the suspicious Biden-linked transactions. Clean-cut, mid-40s, and clearly nervous, Elias sat across from Trump's legal counsel in a private Mar-a-Lago studio. The interview aired live. "I didn't want to go public," Elias began, his voice steady but tense. "But when I saw the same patterns repeated, Ukraine, Romania, Hong Kong, I couldn't ignore it anymore. These weren't just business deals. They were coordinated political arrangements." He leaned in. Hunter Biden wasn't acting alone. Every major wire had shadow correspondence copied to government emails. In some cases, Joe Biden's name wasn't mentioned directly, but his travel, his influence, and his approvals were all implied. You don't move $10 million internationally without powerful hands clearing the path. When asked why he came forward now, Elias said, "Because the people deserve to know. And because the last time I raised concerns quietly, I was silenced. My bank contract was terminated. My house was broken into. My passport was flagged." The camera panned to Trump, who nodded solemnly. This man risked everything to tell the truth. And he's not the only one. There are more. Within minutes, a Senate hearing was demanded by GOP leadership. A call for an independent special counsel followed. And back in D.C., the White House press secretary canceled her evening briefing. The walls were closing in. Just when it seemed the situation couldn't escalate further, Trump made another surprise announcement on Truth Social: tomorrow at noon, the second file drop goes public. It's not just Hunter. It's not just Joe. It's a web. And we've got the whole thing. The post sent shockwaves through political circles. Journalists, activists, and members of Congress braced for impact. Cyber experts rushed to secure servers, and intelligence officials feared what else might come to light. At exactly 12 p.m., Trump's media team published a public archive, an encrypted database containing thousands of pages of internal communications, travel documents, email attachments, and even voice memos. The headline item: a 2013 memo linking a Chinese state-affiliated investment firm to an equity deal involving Hunter's firm, and a hidden stakeholder referred to in shorthand as JB1. Also uncovered, a 2014 phone log showing Hunter in direct contact with senior figures in Kazakhstan's state oil ministry days before Joe Biden landed in Astana on an official visit. A handwritten note, scanned and uploaded, saying, "Hunter, have your father handle the Ukrainian customs situation. It's bottlenecking everything." An audio file of what analysts believe to be Hunter discussing back-channel access to the VP's travel itinerary in exchange for coordination fees. The implications were devastating. News outlets that once dismissed Trump's accusations now began issuing statements like, "We are reviewing the contents of the second drop." If authenticated, these documents raise serious legal and ethical concerns. A bipartisan group of House members began drafting a resolution to appoint a special prosecutor. Meanwhile, Democratic leadership fell into disarray. Internal messaging chains were leaked showing frantic coordination. "If we don't control this narrative, we lose 2024 before it begins." And behind closed doors, whispers of resignation talks began circulating. Trump, standing on the Mar-a-Lago balcony with reporters below, raised his hand and simply said, "This is what they feared. Not me. The truth." By the time the 9th document drop hit the public, it was no longer just a media frenzy, it was a political earthquake. The latest files implicated not only Hunter Biden, but several mid-level staffers from the Obama administration. Emails revealed coordinated efforts to route funds from foreign consulting gigs through shell companies, many of which were later dissolved quietly, just months before Joe Biden launched his presidential campaign. One document, highlighted in bold red by Trump's team, contained an alleged memo from a former national security aide warning, "There are optics concerns if VP Biden is indirectly benefiting from his son's overseas ventures. Recommend distancing immediately." The memo was ignored. Inside the Capitol, Republican leadership called for an emergency committee session. Even some centrist Democrats, facing re-election pressure, privately admitted they were deeply disturbed by what was unfolding. Then, the unthinkable happened. A longtime Democratic senator, known for towing the party line, issued a public statement: "If the evidence is verified, and it increasingly appears to be, then accountability must follow. No one is above the law, not even a sitting president or his family." The press descended on the White House press secretary, whose deflections and vague responses only fueled the growing fire. Reporters shouted questions, one after another. Meanwhile, Trump stood behind the podium at Mar-a-Lago, documents in hand, smiling as he said, "They called it a conspiracy. Now they call it a crisis." Part 10, the final strike. It was Friday morning when Trump dropped the final file. This time, there was no rally, no teaser. Just a link posted to Truth Social with 3 words, "Full disclosure now." The file contained a recorded phone call, dated 2015, between a Romanian energy executive and Hunter Biden. The call wasn't just suggestive. It was direct. Hunter confirmed his father's involvement in greenlighting approvals for international business ventures. He even mentioned an upcoming diplomatic visit that would make the investors very happy. But that wasn't all. The final seconds of the call included an unmistakable voice, older, more familiar, briefly confirming the travel arrangement. Voice recognition experts later identified it as Joe Biden. That audio spread like wildfire. Within hours, House Republicans filed an emergency resolution to initiate formal inquiries. Rumors swirled that DOJ officials were conducting quiet interviews. Leaks indicated a potential freeze on certain Biden family assets pending further investigation. Even mainstream networks, long silent on the matter, began using words like crisis, integrity breach, and unprecedented exposure. At Mar-a-Lago, Trump walked out for a short press statement. No music. No crowd. Just cameras. This was never about revenge. It was about truth. And the truth is now undeniable. The Biden family sold access to our country. They sold us out. And now, it's over for them. He stepped away as reporters shouted questions. And somewhere deep in D.C., phones kept ringing.